What's up, guys? It's Jeb, and I just finished going through every NBA player on the SoRare marketplace to find the best buy and sell plays for game week 6. Now, if you don't have a SoRare account, go ahead and check out the link in the description below, and you'll get an exclusive deal using my affiliate link. As always, please remember that this video is not financial advice. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's jump right into it. Now, in the last video, we talked about how D'Angelo Russell was a sell high. And even though it's only been a couple of days, his price has dropped by almost $10. In that video, I mentioned that I thought the Lakers would move away from possessions constantly going through D'Angelo Russell. And my whole reasoning really centered around the fact that I thought more and more possessions would go through our first buy low target instead. And that is Austin Reaves. Austin Reaves has a cap of 28 and a floor price at about $14. There was a lot of Austin Reaves hype at the end of last season that only got bigger after his incredible performances during the World Cup. So going into the season, I think a lot of people were very disappointed with his slow start. And I think it's totally possible that SoRare managers even got a little spooked because Austin Reaves was supposed to be the third man in the Lakers' big three. And for the first couple of games, he really just wasn't involved in most possessions at all. However, these last couple of games, Austin Reaves' usage has taken a considerable and noticeable jump. And that is directly translated to his SoRare scores, including his most recent outing where he dropped a 48 and led all SoRare scores on the Lakers. I think throughout this season, Austin Reaves will see a lot of consistent usage. On top of that, if AD or LeBron gets hurt, Austin Reaves is going to be the one that's stepping up and taking the lion's share of those injured players' usage. When you consider how old and or injury prone LeBron and AD are, $14 for Austin Reaves just seems like an absolute steal right now. Now, the next buy low that we're going to talk about today is a player who didn't even start the NBA season on a team. And that player is Bismack Biyombo. Now, Biyombo has a cap at 12 and a floor price sitting at about $650. After putting up a solid season for the Suns last year, it was a bit surprising to see that considering their lack of depth, they didn't try to re-sign him as a backup. On top of that, it was surprising that no team at all wanted to take a chance on Biyombo as a solid backup center. However, just 2 weeks into the season, the Memphis Grizzlies signed Bismack Biyombo and immediately had him starting. And in his first game, he dropped a 32 on SoRare, which is almost triple his current cap. While his floor price maybe went up a couple of dollars, I was shocked to find out during my research that he is still sitting at a very affordable $6 or so. The Memphis Grizzlies are incredibly shorthanded, especially when it comes to big men. Bismack Biyombo is a no-brainer and will put up some incredible scores and almost certainly be in an optimal lineup in the next couple of game weeks. I'm 100% at least buying one Biyombo at this price. Now, the third and final buy low in today's video was an absolute staple of the channel last year during SoRare. And while Doc Rivers did not give him nearly as many opportunities as he honestly should have, this player put up some absolutely monster scores last season, and I think he is in a far superior position this season to perform on SoRare, and that player is Paul Reed. Paul Reed has a cap of 8 and a floor of $8.50. At the beginning of last year's season, I was very high on Paul Reed for two main reasons. One, while he was a little bit raw, his incredible athleticism and length allowed him to put up multi-block games. And on SoRare, blocks and steals are extremely valuable. And the second reason was that he was the backup for Joel Embiid, a player who plays a lot of minutes, has a lot of usage, is constantly falling down, and is a bit injury prone. Since last season, my opinion on Paul Reed has only gone up. While he didn't get as many opportunities to play meaningful minutes as he probably should have, mostly because of Doc Rivers, he did put up some pretty incredible ceiling games, including multiple 40 and 50-point performances on SoRare. I would say if a guy has a cap consistently below 20 and has a 50-point ceiling potential, that is an optimal play. On top of that, Montrezl Harrell was injured before the season started, clearing the way for more Reed minutes and usage. And very early on in the season, Nick Nurse has shown that he clearly does not see Paul Reed the same way Doc Rivers did. While I do think over $8 for Paul Reed is a bit much, he's a player that I will definitely be watching and looking to snag as soon as his price dips. Moving on from our buy lows, now let's talk about our sell highs. My first sell high is a player that I honestly have zero faith that he's going to make it to the end of the season, and that's not because I think he's going to get injured. That player is James Harden. James Harden has a cap of 43 and a floor price just above $30. Now, if you're playing NBA SoRare, I'm going to assume you at least are aware of the absolute fever dream that is James Harden. I think the best way to summarize my bearded brother, James Harden, is that he is a player that is all about himself. He has repeatedly quit on teams and not only shown that he does not care about winning, but that he is actively a loser. While he is the king of putting up empty, meaningless stats, which can translate to great SoRare scores, he is a super ball-dominant player who just joined a team with 3 ball-dominant superstars already. I just don't think the situation is going to work out at all, and James Harden will be quitting on the Clippers sooner rather than later. Now, I do think it's possible that James Harden has a pretty solid run for the next couple of game weeks on SoRare. And it's totally possible that SoRare managers start to get really excited about James Harden, thinking that this time it'll be different for some reason. If I had a James Harden, I would be watching his price very carefully. And if it spiked, I would sell immediately. When it comes down to it, I just don't think James Harden is even remotely close to being worth the risk when there are so many great players that you can get for cheaper. Now, the next sell high is a player that unfortunately is directly impacted by the Harden situation. And funny enough, he probably would have been a buy low in one of the previous videos, but I held off on putting him on that list because of the possibility of the Harden trade happening. Now that that's happened, I don't see any world where this player continues to perform at the high level that he was to start this season, and that is, unfortunately, Russell Westbrook. Now, Westbrook has a cap of 42 and a floor price just above $11. And like I said, $11 seems like a buy low. That's cheaper than Austin Reeves. That's cheaper than DeJounte Murray and Tyrese Maxey from the previous videos. And in game week 3, Russell Westbrook just dropped a 48 and a 53 on SoRare. Unfortunately, Russell Westbrook is a highly ball-dominant player. And we already saw during his time with the Lakers what happens when he plays with another ball-dominant player who refuses to change their game to accommodate Westbrook. Now, I don't think that James Harden is remotely close to being in the same conversation as LeBron James. However, over their careers, they've proven that they are both super ball-dominant players who do not adjust to the players on their team. And the perfect example of this is the first interview James Harden gave as a Clipper. I mean, if those quotes don't set off alarm bells in your head as a Russell Westbrook card owner, I don't know what will. Like I said, I think it's unfortunate because I think Westbrook was a great SoRare play until this trade happened. So I'm taking the $10 or $11 here because I don't think there's a world where you can trust Westbrook in your SoRare lineup, and I think that's going to push his price down. Now, the third and final sell high of this video is a player that people were very optimistic about going into this season. He was traded to the Indiana Pacers, who people were talking about having one of the highest paces possibly in NBA history going into this season. However, even with the Pacers seemingly scoring over 150 points a game, this player cannot seem to get an extra share of all those additional SoRare points. And that player is Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin has a cap of 14 and a floor price just below $8. He is probably most known for his speed, athleticism, and high-flying highlight dunks. Obi Toppin was also chosen 4 picks ahead of his current teammate, Tyrese Halliburton. So the hype has always been there. He has just never really delivered on it in any meaningful way. Now, before I criticize Toppin anymore, I do want to clarify that I don't think he's a bad player. And considering his floor is only $8, I don't think this is a card that you immediately need to list. That's because I don't think the risk necessarily matches the reward. If he continues to underperform, his card will probably dip by a couple of dollars, while if he has a bit of a breakout game, we might see his card take a pretty significant price jump. However, when your team is dropping 150 points a game and you're averaging 23 minutes per game and you can barely drop a SoRare score above 20, that seems like a red flag for me, especially when this offense and the teammates he plays with should really complement Obi Toppin's strengths. Personally, I'm just starting to really lose faith and lose interest in Obi Toppin, And considering his floor price is above the floor price of two of our buy low candidates, I think it's only appropriate we have him as the final sell high. And there you have it. There's 3 buy lows and 3 sell highs going into game week 6. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. And go ahead and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about these picks and give me some of your picks. Let's talk about it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next video. Please clap.